Hey world, it's your girl Nina Love. Thanks for being here. In my last video, I talked briefly about my history, and I am from Hauula, Hawaii, graduate of Kauku High School, and I currently reside in Columbia, South Carolina. So the biggest question I get all the time from strangers that I first meet, new friends, old friends, all my friends from high school, how the heck did I end up in South Carolina? Why would I move to South Carolina? So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. And it's funny the circumstances that cause you to make life decisions. I talked in about October 2016 is when I divorced from my ex-husband. We were together for 13 years. So the breakup was really, really hard for me. It came seemingly out of nowhere, for me at least. He had probably been thinking about it, as I'm sure most men, think about it for a very long time before they actually do it. Anyway, so it was a surprise for me, and I did not take it very well. And I think between October 2016 and January 2017, I must have taken a trip. Every couple of weeks, I would leave the island. First, I went to Texas. Then I went to Maryland. Then I went back to Texas and back to Texas and back to Texas. Anyway, January 2017, I find myself on a flight to Atlanta. I get off in Atlanta, rent a car, and I just drive. I get on the 20 and I drive east. I find myself maybe like 45 minutes outside of Myrtle Beach area, and I hit a deer. And I talk about this briefly in my blog. You can check it out, ninalove.com. I'll post the link. And I hit a deer. And that was my first experience here in South Carolina. So Sprint service sucks in South Carolina because my phone did not reach, could not call out in the middle of nowhere on these back roads. And lucky there was OnStar on the rental car, because that's how I was able to, they were able to call the highway patrol to come and save me, because I wrecked the car hitting that deer, poor deer. Anyway, that was my first run-in with South Carolina. And so I eventually make it back to Hawaii. I think I flew out on a Thursday, got in the car, hit a deer, and I was back in Hawaii on Monday. So it was a quick trip, but there's something about driving on the open road that always clears my mind from just not having any, there's no distractions when you're driving on the road. It's just me and the highway. Sometimes there's music. Sometimes there's an audiobook. Sometimes there's Coast to Coast, one of my favorite radio shows. But in any case, I was brokenhearted, and I needed the open road, and I needed to just clear my head. So I did that. That's when I hit the deer. Anyway, I got back to Hawaii. Didn't think anything else. March or April, my cousin, who was stationed at the Pentagon, she's like my sister. I introduce her as my sister when we're out and about. She was stationed in the Pentagon. She gets orders to South Carolina, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. She was not expecting that. And so she's like, hey, you want to come and drive one of her cars from DC to South Carolina? And that would be in June. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm so down to come in June. So June 2017, I make it here to South Carolina again, driving one of her cars from DC to South Carolina. I came out here and I loved it. I love it out here, actually, and I still do. I miss my family immensely. But anyway, I'm here. So that was June 2017. I had been feeling increasingly like trapped. I felt trapped at my job. Even though my boss was very good to me, I had the best coworkers. It was a no pressure type of job where I never felt like anybody was trying to backbite or tear me down. I felt so supportive. That I love the job. I love the people I work with. What I didn't like is that I had to have a bishop's endorsement or an ecclesiastical endorsement from a religious person verifying that I all these things. I was a full tithe payer. I abstained from sexual contact outside of marriage. I abstained from liquor and tobacco products and drugs, etc., etc. And this whole list of things. I felt really trapped by it because I do drink coffee. At that time I did. I don't think I ever stopped drinking coffee. But it was part of the whole ecclesiastical endorsement to work at Brigham Young University. And since my divorce in October 2016, I did pick up alcohol again. And I did pick up tobacco again, because those are the things that help kind of soothe me. For those who have never had drink or tobacco, would probably never understand why it would relieve me. But that was my life before that I found comfort in tobacco and alcohol. So those are some of the things that made me feel like, okay, maybe my current employer is not where I'm supposed to be. So by August of 2017, I was looking for something else in Hawaii. I wasn't necessarily looking here in South Carolina. I was looking in Hawaii. And there wasn't really anything biting. I could have technically stayed where I was working and lie about my not using tobacco, not using alcohol, and not drinking coffee. I could have lied about that. But it's not me. I'm a grown woman. I shouldn't have to lie about stuff like that. And so I did look other places for work. Kamehameha schools. I really wanted to go there because my nieces are enrolled there and my nephew. So I wanted to be close to where they were. I never got a hit. And like any place else, I'm sure it's who you know. And I apparently did not know the right people. Another thing I was looking for was a place to rent. When my ex and I divorced, we sold our house. So I needed to stop living in my dad's house, even though he didn't care, of course, but I can't live there forever. So I wanted to find my own place. Anybody who knows Hawaii knows that rent is redonkulous. Redonkulous. And I am Native Hawaiian, and I just can't afford to live there as a single woman. As a one income woman, I would have to have multiple jobs to be able to sustain myself, or have a really, really high paying job, like 6 figures or more. So that had me look elsewhere. And my cousin, or my sister that's here in South Carolina, she was saying, why don't you just come out here? Try something different. Get off the island. Do something brand new. It had never occurred to me to do that because my ex and I actually argued so much over the final years of our marriage. We argued a lot about demographics. Where were we going to live? He wanted to leave the island. And I thought to myself, we have everything here. He had a good job. I had a good job. He had a nice car. I had a nice car. We owned a home. Like, I was like, what? Why would you want to leave? Like, we have everything we want here. Anyway, we argued back and forth. So leaving the island had never been something that I would want to do. I love Hawaii. I love everything about Hawaii, from the people to the food to the traditions to having my family so close by and my nieces and nephews whom I miss dearly. There is nothing that I wanted outside of Hawaii. You know what I mean? So when she told me, you should try, just come out here and try it. You should try. I never thought about it. I was like, okay. Anyway, September 2017, I put in an application for an office manager in this brand new department here at the University of South Carolina. 1 week later, I have an interview. Another week later, the interviewers call the references, which I had my boss as a reference, and he gave a glowing review. Bless his heart. And I thought I didn't get it because they didn't get back to me probably until 2 weeks later. They called to offer me the position, which I know my old boss had a lot to do with it, because he told me they said, well, she's not available until November 1st. Is there any way she could come earlier? And he said he told them, well, if you wait till November 1st, she is worth the wait. Yeah, thanks, boss. So when I got the job offer, it was like, I'm done. I'm going to move, because the job here offered more money. The cost of living here is lower. So as a single woman, no children, I would be able to support myself. So for me, it was like doors were opening for me to move to South Carolina. And on top of that, when you go through a divorce or you go through such a life-changing event like this, it could have been death or something. In my case, it was a divorce. You really have to re-examine. I really had to re-examine what I really wanted to do with my life. And so moving to South Carolina, I thought to myself, this is my chance to do everything I said I wanted to do. And I want to be a writer. That's what I want to do full time. I want to write, whether it's TV shows, novels, or nonfiction narratives, which is actually what I feel my specialty is. And those are the things that I feel I was born to do, to tell stories, to tell people's stories. And so moving here to South Carolina, I tell you, I had a vision in my mind that I was going to be a writer for Tyler Perry. In my mind, I see so clearly that I am going to write stories, whether for Tyler Perry or under Tyler Perry, or if he picks up a script or a story idea for me. That's what I came here to do. And to be in close proximity of where, if he wanted to meet, I could be like, I could be there in 3 hours and hop in my car and drive out to Atlanta. I don't necessarily write African American stories, but I definitely could. And really, I am trying to bring forward all of the talents of people like me, Pacific Islanders, because there are a ton of us that can sing, dance, and act their tails off. And I want to bring that forward too. I think of my niece, my number 2 niece, and my number 1 and my number 3 niece. Okay, number 1 niece, she's a musical genius. Number 2 niece is a drama comedy genius. Like, she is such a good actress. Number 3 niece is also a musician. So I think of them and I think of their future and how it would be so beautiful for them to be able to work in the arts. So I need to start telling our stories, to start telling the Pacific Islander story. And that was another reason for me coming out here to South Carolina, to be in close proximity to where I would be able to sit in front of filmmakers like Tyler Perry and pitch a story. So, like I said in my last video, I am nearly halfway complete with my first novel. The next project after that is to turn that novel into a screenplay. And then the next project after that is to write my nonfiction narrative, which have already started. I just need to finish it. And I have several stories that I've started and have not completed. This is the first time that I have taken it this far, where I'm halfway complete. Usually I'll start and I'll have about 3 chapters done and then I put it away. This time, this space in the here and now is my time to do this. And I can only credit the divorce from my ex-husband to this newfound discovery of what I want to do. What do I want to do? And I know what I want to do. And I said it in my last video, and I'm going to say it again. I'm here to tell stories. I'm here to tell our stories. Anyway, so here I am in South Carolina, and I am doing what I said I was going to do. And I have a lot of people to thank for that. But if I mention them all, I might miss someone. So better for me not to mention because I might miss someone. And I'm so grateful for everybody that's helped me along in my journey. And I look forward to this new part of my life, this new chapter, because it was really tough coming out of that divorce. And there are times, even now, where I have a tough time when I might think about him or wonder what he's doing, or I question myself, like, why was I not good enough for him? And so, you know, everybody goes through that, and everybody thinks to himself, how could I have done things differently, especially in a divorce? So there are definitely hard times, but if I had not been divorced, who knows where I would be? I would be not living to my full potential, but maintaining a marriage. I don't know. It would have been nice, because I missed his companionship. We were really best friends, but I was missing myself more, who I am. And I see my star rising as I had a year ago. And I can feel my star rising, and I can feel myself going towards the thing that I love the most, which is to write, which is to tell our stories. And thanks for coming along my journey. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you next week.